Kia ora, and welcome to Monday's Economy Watch, where we follow the economic events and trends that affect Aotearoa. I'm David Chaston, and this is the international edition from interest.co.nz, and today we lead with news of an apparent agreement to wind back the crisis levels in the Persian Gulf, but details are not available. One thing is clear, however, the US will be in a significantly worse position than if the Obama deal with Iran had not been torn up by Trump. Follow-up statements by Trump that it isn't even fully negotiated yet, unquote, suggest things aren't quite as close as he earlier suggested. And the headline news that one supertanker with Iraq crude exits Persian Gulf as talks continue, unquote, highlights how little progress has actually been made. But locally this week, it'll be dominated by two big set-piece announcements. First, the RBNZ will review its monetary policy settings, and while no change is expected, all eyes will be on how they view the current inflation pressures. Markets have a 25 basis point hike priced in for the July 8 meeting. Following that, the government will deliver its election budget. It'll likely be a jam today budget, but couched as responsible restraint. Credit rating agencies will be interested readers, especially around the credibility of the forecasting. And on Friday, there'll be the usual month-end data released for April, plus a mountain of March quarter data released. And the RBNZ's dashboard will also drop on Friday. In Australia, we'll get the April CPI data on Wednesday and the household spending update on Thursday, both expected to be elevated. It'll be a busy week in Japan, where we'll get industrial production, retail sales, consumer confidence, and their unemployment rate. Meanwhile, the Bank of Korea will also decide on monetary policy. Data from China will be relatively light, but we will be interested in the FDI update. We should note that this is a long weekend holiday in the US, Memorial Day, and for the unofficial start of summer. For the record, tradition states that investors should, quote, sell in May and go away, unquote, until the end of this period on their Labor Day. That's on September the 7th. This rule is a warning that their summer financial markets can be volatile. Wall Street will reopen on Wednesday, New Zealand time. Data from the US this week will be limited, although PCE data and the weekly ADP employment update will be closely watched, as will the durable goods order data. Over the weekend, the University of Michigan's Consumer Sentiment Index plunged to a new record low in May, revised down sharply from the earlier and preliminary report. This is the third straight monthly decline. Petrol prices are getting the blame, and it's caused the chaotic Middle East adventure. The cost of living remained the top concern in this survey, with 57% of consumers spontaneously citing high prices as eroding their personal finances. Lower-income consumers and those without college degrees posted the steepest declines, as these groups are more sensitive to rising petrol and essential costs. Critically, consumers grew increasingly worried that inflation would spread beyond fuel prices in the long term. Year-ahead inflation expectations edged up to 4.8%, while long-run expectations climbed to 3.9%. And things may not get easier, even with slightly lower oil prices. Fed Governor Waller said he supports removing the easing bias language from the Fed's outlook, and the next change could be a hike, even if it is some way off. He followed that up with remarks saying it would be crazy to lower rates at this time. Investors are bullish that the Iran-US war will end soon, but consumers are very negative about how this is all hurting them. Profits are remaining high, insulating them from rising costs, but household living costs are making consumers very grumpy. In Canada, and for a fourth month in a row, retail sales rose in April, but largely because petrol prices are higher. And that is even after the volume of petrol sales fell. In fact, overall sales volumes are trending lower there. And Canadian producer prices rose a sharp 2% in April from March to be an uncomfortable 11.4% higher than year-ago levels. These changes are worse than expected. And despite all the global pressure their businesses are under, Japanese consumers avoided the impacts in April. Their inflation edged down to 1.4% from 1.5% in March. Food prices rose the least in 18 months amid further slowdowns in the rice cost. After falling sharply in April, South Korean consumer sentiment rebounded in May, although not quite back to the levels it was between June 2025 and March 2026. Still, this level is above every month from December 2021 to May 2025 and was a much stronger bounce back than was anticipated. The US Treasury 10-year yield is now just on 4.57%, up 2 basis points from this time Saturday, and the price of gold will start today down $6 at $4,509 an ounce, to be down $42 for the week. Silver's down 50 cents at just under $75.50 an ounce. Oil prices have firmed 50 cents to be just on $97 a barrel in the US, while the international Brent price is up at just $104 a barrel. And the Kiwi dollar is down 10 basis points from Saturday at 58.5 US cents, up 10 basis points from a week ago. Against the Aussie, we're holding at 82.1 Australian cents. Against the euro, we're down 10 basis points at 50.4 euro cents. That all means our trade weighted index starts today at just on 62, which is down 10 basis points from Saturday, up 10 basis points for the week. And the Bitcoin price starts today at $76,601 and very little change, down just 0.1% from Saturday, but down 3.2% from this time last week. Volatility of the past 24 hours has been modest, at just under plus or minus 1.4%. You can get more news affecting the economy in New Zealand from interest.co.nz. Kia ora, I'm David Chaston, and we'll do this again tomorrow.